Dolphin fans, you did it. And before I get into today's show, I just want to give you a round of applause. This has actually been one of the fastest growing YouTube channels that we have at Chat Sports. So, great job. But now, I want you to turn on your notifications because we do have a lot of new watchers. We do have a lot of new subscribers. And for those, well, you might not know what notifications do or maybe how to turn them on. I tell people to turn on your noties. That way you know right when we drop a video. If you want the latest and best news and rumors around the Dolphins, turn on your notifications. So, Mitch, how do you do that? You got to go to your settings app. It literally looks like the logo you see over there. Scroll down, tap on YouTube, then tap notifications, then turn on allow notifications. It is as simple as that. So just like when somebody texts you, it pops up on your phone. That's how we do it here. All right, y'all, let's get into today's show. What's going on, y'all? Mitchell Renz from Chat Sports, and let's get into today's show, and it's Dolphins Overreaction Monday. And I love doing these shows because you can be hot takey, you can be spicy, and that's what it's all about. Now, I do want to congratulate a pretty successful win over the Cincinnati Bengals yesterday, but there's still a lot of things that we're going to talk about today. And remember, we're going to be overreacting a little bit. So are the Miami Dolphins going to win the division? When I looked at all the storylines this morning, I tried to pick the four biggest ones, the ones that I thought, you know what, they were the most entertaining to talk about. But before we dive into the chances of the Dolphins winning the division, you got to look at the team that's number one right now. It's the Buffalo Bills sitting there at 8-3, and they have a game tonight on Monday Night Football against the San Francisco 49ers. The Patriots, they continue to play well. The Jets, they lost an absolute heartbreaker yesterday. But Miami, at 8-4, if they can continue to win games, and maybe if Buffalo drops one, this is going to be a serious conversation. But you do have a tough game Week 14 against the Kansas City Chiefs at 11-1. I don't really think they played all that well this past week against the Denver Broncos, but I believe that they can beat the Patriots. They can probably beat the Raiders if the Raiders play the way that they did the past 2 weeks. And then Buffalo. If you can beat Buffalo in Week 17, I think you might actually have it. But also the Bills, right? The Bills, I think they have to lose this upcoming week to the 49ers. Then they have the Steelers. I don't know if they're going to end up beating the Steelers. The Broncos, the Patriots, and the Miami Dolphins. Bottom line is this. This division is wide open. And even though Buffalo is playing some pretty solid football, our sponsor today, BETUS, actually has them as an underdog. So I want y'all to watch tonight's game because it's important. Keep your friends close. Keep the Buffalo Bills, your enemy, just a little bit closer. So the over-under in this game, 47.5 points. The 49ers are 1.5-point favorites. That was honestly pretty surprising to me. Now, the upcoming week, or I should say, basically the entire week, I was saying, hey, y'all, go ahead, put your money where your mouth is on the Miami Dolphins, and I want you to do the exact same, but I want you to do it for tonight's game. So predict the score. The Buffalo Bills against the San Francisco 49ers. Go down in the comments section, whether you see this video on YouTube, Facebook, I don't care where you see it. Go down in the comments and give me your score predictions. Now, I am curious on who y'all have to say is going to win, but if you do want to bet on the Dolphins for the rest of the year, maybe you want to put some money on to a winning offensive rookie of the year, or if you're just simply looking for something to bet on tonight, we got you covered. You can bet on any NFL game that you want to, and how do you do it? You just got to go to chatsports.com/bet. Once you go and use that link, and yes, you have to use that link, use the promo code Dolphins125. It's going to get you a 125% deposit bonus. So if you deposit $100, you're going to get $125 for free. If you deposit $200, watch this math, $250 for free. We're hooking you up with the best deal on the internet. And if you have any questions on how to get started, just email us, dolphins@chatsports.com. Let's get into some more stories here. Brian Flores, should he win Coach of the Year for his performance, for his ability to just rally the troops this upcoming season? This is definitely going to be something that we're talking about, right? So right now here are the NFL Coach of the Year odds. Mike Tomlin with the undefeated Pittsburgh Steelers, best odds at plus 105. Then Brian Flores with the Miami Dolphins, plus 350. I mean, I will tip my cat to Kevin Stefanski at plus 600. Sean Payton, they continue to win even without Drew Brees. And then Matt LaFleur at plus 1,300. But obviously the guy that we're looking at, it's Brian Flores at plus 350, which, again, you can bet down here below at BETUS. So one of the reasons why I absolutely love what Brian Flores has done is because he has gotten this team together. This is not the most talented football team, but they have each other's backs. Now, there was 5 players ejected yesterday. No doubt about it. I think the Xavier Howard one, little ticky-tacky. However, Matt Collins, Devontae Parker, they have their teammates back. And you can see this entire Dolphins team, guess what? They have each other's backs. And not only is it the players, you know that they are playing their hearts out for Brian Flores, who, guess what, also has their back. Man, as soon as you saw these players get ejected, Brian Flores walks over to the Bengals sideline, and you see all these coaches holding them back. If I was a player and I see my coach that fired up over these scuffles that are happening because I feel like my players are getting an unfair advantage, guess what, man? I would march over there and I would play as hard as I possibly could for that type of coach. So even though he might not win Coach of the Year, because I think the only way he does win it is if Mike Tomlin and the Steelers fall apart a little bit at the end. It's possible, but Miami also has to make the playoffs. But I do want you to go down in the comments section. Let me know who will win Coach of the Year. Brian Flores, I think what he's done with this team from last season to this season, it's incredible. They lost a lot of players, also a lot of players due to COVID opting out. Nobody, including myself, gave Miami a chance. And when you look at the Dolphins' 2019 point differential, minus 188. That's like the worst in the National Football League last year, okay? And they even won 2 games their final 2 weeks. That's just how bad Miami was. So you go from minus 188 to plus 91. That's exceptional. That's better than the Buffalo Bills. I mean, that's like top 6 in the NFL in terms of point differential. And yet, Miami doesn't get the credit. When you look at the roster from top to bottom, it's honestly not the most talented. But this might be the best team in the National Football League. This might be the team that has each other's backs every single down. This is a team that plays as hard as they possibly can week in and week out. So for that, I tip my cap to Brian Flores, and it's why he deserves to be in NFL Coach of the Year discussions. Next topic here, should the Dolphins stay aggressive with Tua? Have you noticed that I didn't put a question mark next to this one? The Dolphins need to stay aggressive with Tua, and if he makes a mistake, he makes a mistake. It's okay. It's going to happen sooner or later. But when I look at the first half numbers against Cincinnati, 12-19, 111 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Miami scored only 6 points. What happened? Defenses, they stacked the box. You can't get your running game going because there is no threat whatsoever that you're going to try to stretch it down the field. But in the third quarter, Gailey looked at his offense and he goes, you know what? We drafted this guy. We have hope in him. We believe in our offense. We need to open it up a little bit. And that's exactly what they did. Tua was one of the best deep throwers in college football, and they finally allowed him to open it up a little bit. 13 of 16, 167 yards, and 1 touchdown. Again, he didn't throw an interception. That's great. I do want you to grade Tua's performance, A, B, C, D, or F. But the importance of allowing Tua to take shots down the field, it was simple. It opened up a whole bunch for this team. It opened up a whole bunch for the offense. It also gave Tua a lot of confidence to be able to sit there in the huddle around his teammates and say, you know what, guys? I got you. I know our coach believes in us, and I'm going to be able to take us where we need to go. Ryan Fitzpatrick, I've always said that the offense looked a lot better because Chan Gailey allowed the offense, I think, to be better. Open it up with Tua. Let him make some mistakes. He's good enough where the good is going to outweigh the bad. Grade Tua's performance week 13, I'm going to give it a solid B-plus grade. The last take here on today's show is going to be Mike Gesicki. Is he a top 5 tight end? Now, I filmed this show, earlier in the week around a Dolphins mailbag, and a lot of the questions came in actually around Mike Gesicki saying, this guy doesn't get enough credit. And I was like, man, I don't know if he's a top 5, but he had a phenomenal game up against Cincy. And when you saw Devontae Parker get the boot, obviously he was ejected. Tua's main option was Mike Gesicki, and he was the main option in the entire offense, maybe behind Gaskin. But 9 catches, 88 yards, and a touchdown. He continues to show, not just this season, but ever since he's been drafted out of Penn State, that he's one of the best pass-catching tight ends in the National Football League. Here are his 2020 stats. 39 catches, 537 yards, 4 touchdowns. He's actually one of the best athletes at the position. If you guys love crazy combine stats, go look up Mike Gesicki's combine stats. It's like better vertical than DeAndre Hopkins, better 40 time than OBJ. I mean, his numbers at the combine were incredible. And I understand why people are trying to get him in this top 5 conversation because, well, he's top 4 in the NFL in terms of receiving yards at the position. You have Travis Kelce, who is just in a league of his own right now, 1,114 yards. Darren Waller was 742. TJ Hawkinson, he's racking up 614. Gesicki there with 537. And then Giants tight end Evan Ingram with 508. So let me know down in the comments section. That's what our shows are at Chat Sports are all about. Don't get me wrong. I think I know what I'm talking about, and I love talking sports. However, this show reminds me a lot of sitting around the dinner table with my family or sitting around at any family event talking sports, because that's what sports is about, being able to sit down, communicate to people about your ideas. So let me know down in the comments section, is Mike Gesicki a top 5 tight end? I want you to type Y for yes, or I want you to type N for no. Y'all might get mad at me, but I'm going to go no. Mike Gesicki is not a top 5 tight end. Now, maybe a top 5 tight end in terms of just overall talent at being able to catch the football. But when I think of a true tight end, I think of somebody that can also block, and that is definitely one of his weaknesses. So before I go, I do want to give you my top 5 tight ends in the National Football League. If y'all want to come yell at me, it's all good. You can find me Instagram, Twitter. I'm at MitchellRens365. So at number 1, I have Travis Kelce. With his ability to be able to catch the football, he's also he's a solid blocker. And the numbers that he's put up over the last 3-4 seasons are just crazy. George Kittle's number 2, and actually it's probably like 1A, 1B. When fully healthy, I'd actually probably say George Kittle is better than Travis Kelce. However, the injuries have started to pile up a little bit more for Kittle, where the last few years they haven't for Kelce. At number 3, it's Darren Waller. I wish Darren was in maybe a different offense where it was a little bit higher ceiling in terms of overall production, but he is no doubt the clear-cut number 1 option, has been for Derek the last 2 years. Number 4 is Mark Andrews. Even though he's not having as good of a season this year, he does still have 6 touchdowns. The Baltimore offense is all over the place. I would take Mark Andrews, and I would actually also take TJ Hawkinson, a player that I absolutely loved out of Iowa, over Mike Gesicki just because of their overall all-around plays. But hey, if you want to let me know your top 5 tight ends, please go ahead and do so. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to the show and turn on those notifications.